Good morning to one and all. I am Kalpana, Assistant Professor from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, NPR College of Engineering and Technology. In previous class, we discussed about what is computation and why we need computation and the syllabus of theory of computation. And now we are going to recall the same concept and we move to Unit 1 Automata Fundamentals. First, I will explain the definition of TOC. It is a branch which deals how efficiently the problem can be solved on a model of computation using an algorithm. Model of computation means each and every problem we have input, output and calculative steps. It can be done by algorithm. Algorithm means step-by-step instruction which helps us to solve a problem to get a desired result. So this is the block diagram of model of computation. First we have input and computational process, and finally we get an output. So consider one problem of addition of two numbers. In addition of two numbers, we have only two inputs, one is A and another one is B. And the computational process involved in addition of two numbers, arithmetic operation, that is C equal to A plus B, where C is the output. First calculate A and B and finally store the value in the C, that is the output. So input represents what is to be computed. It is based on the given problem which is called as computability theory, and output represents where it can be stored, that is called as complexity theory. In between input and output is computational process, how it should be computed. So it has several calculative steps. It is based on the problem. It is called as automata theory. In output, it has several steps and we have to store the result in a memory. That is how much space needed to store the result and how many steps involved to solve the given problem. That come under the category of complexity theory. It has both time complexity and space complexity. The both three theories, computability theory, automata theory and complexity theory, is called as theory of computation. And this is syllabus of Unit 1 Automata Fundamentals, Introduction to Formal Proof, Additional Forms of Proof and Inductive Proofs, Finite Automata, Deterministic Finite Automata, short form is DFA, and NDFA, that is Non-Deterministic Finite Automata, and Finite Automata with epsilon transition. Epsilon means empty transition. So first half of the unit deals basic concept of mathematical principles or functions, that is formal proof, additional form of proof. It is based on the set theory concept, inductive proof. And the second half is fully based on automata, that is how machines solve problem effectively, that is called as finite automata. First I will explain the definition of automata. The Greek word of automata is automaton, that is doing something by itself. It helps us to understand how the machine solves problems. It is called as automata. Again, I will explain how machines solve the problem. It is called as automata. So it has some representations to solve the problem. So first one is set of states and set of transitions. States can be represented in the form of circles and transition can be represented in the form of arrow, and end state can be represented in the form of double circle. So it has set of states and set of transition. It helps us to understand how the machine solve problems. States can be represented as circles, transitions can be represented as arrow, and end state can be represented as double circle. So this is the basic diagram involved in automata. This diagram is important one to know the how machines solve problem efficiently. So this is a simple example of automata. Here I will tell. So first one is state and this is transition. It can be represented in arrow and it can be end state can be represented as double circle. Starting state can be represented as arrow. And now I am going to explain the basic terminologies of automata theory: symbols, alphabet, string and language. Symbols has alphabet and numbers or any special character. It may be lowercase letter or it may be uppercase letter A, B, C or 0, 1. And alphabet can be represented as summation. The input should be finite one. So finite represent the continuous number. Alphabets may be 0, 1 up to 9, or it may be a lowercase letter or it may be uppercase letters. And next one is string. It has finite set of strings from alphabet. Length can be represented as W, modulus of W. It is based on the number of characters present in the string. It may be alphabets or any numbers. And next one is language. It has finite as well as infinite. Finite, it is based on the conditions of the appropriate string, and infinite, it has no such conditions. It has some limitations. For example, L1 equal to set of strings of length 2. It may be uppercase letter or lowercase letter, but it should have length 2. But infinite, it has no such conditions. It can be formed by the set of strings which starts with A. For example, AA, AB, AC or etc. But it should starts with A. It may be it have n number of length. And now I will explain the definition of finite automata. It has set of states and set of transitions from one state to another state. It should be based on the input symbol chosen from alphabet summation. So summation already I informed. Summation means it has zeros, ones or letters or any special characters. This is the language of finite automata. Q summation del Q naught F, where Q is the set of states and summation input alphabets. Del is the transition function, Q naught is the start state and F is the final state. So consider this example. Here there are three states, Q0, Q1 and Q2, and it has the transitions 0 and 1. The Q0 to Q1 is 0 input, Q1 to Q2 input is 1. So summation equal to 0, 1. Start state can be represented as arrow and end state can be represented as double circle. The transitions from Q0 to 0 goes to Q1 and transition from Q1 to 1 goes to Q2. So it has set of states and set of transitions, input alphabets, start state and final state, where Q0 is the start state and Q2 is the final state. Transition function or Q0 to 0 is Q1 and Q1 to 1 is Q2. Input alphabet summation equal to 0, 1. And there are two types of finite automata. One is DFA and another one is NFA. DFA means deterministic finite automata and NFA means non-deterministic finite automata. First I will explain DFA and NFA. DFA means for same input we have single transitions from one state to another state. For example, same input means for example 0, I am taking input as 0. It has single transition from Q0 to Q1. But in NFA, we have more than one transition from one state to another state for the same input. For example, Q0 to 0 is Q0 and Q0 to 1 is Q0 to 0 is Q1. Again I am telling, in DFA for the same input we have only one transition, that is there is single transition for the same input. But in NFA we have more than one transition for the same input. For example, Q0 to 0 is Q0 and again the same input Q0 to 0 is also Q1. So this is the basic difference of DFA and NFA. While drawing the problem of DFA and NFA, you have to mention whether it has single transition or more than one transition. In DFA problem you have to represent the single transition, but in NFA problem you have to represent more than one transition. That is, we have to give transitions for the same input more than one type in NFA. And now I am going to explain what is formal proof. There are two types of formal proof. One is deductive proof and another one is inductive proof. Deductive proof means it has sequence of statements which are present in logical order. For example, if A is true, then B is also true. That is, if H is true, then C is also true. This is a statement involved in deductive proof. In left hand side you have to prove the statement is true. Same thing you have to prove in the right hand side also. Where H is called hypothesis, that is initial statement, and C is called conclusion, that is final statement. So this is the example of deductive proof. And inductive proof, it has several parameterized statement that uses the statement by itself. For example, if A is true, then B is also true. You have to prove both conditions are true, both LHS and RHS, that is left hand side and right hand side also true. That is inductive proof. It is similar to deductive proof also, but it have three conditions. First one is you have to mention basis step, that is n equal to 0 or 1, and second step is inductive hypothesis, you have to substitute n equal to k, and third one is inductive step, you have to add the input by k plus 1. So again I am explaining. Inductive proof has several parameterized statement that uses the statement by itself to prove A is true, then B is also true. There are three steps involved in inductive proof: basis, inductive hypothesis, and inductive step. In basis step, you have to substitute n equal to 0 or 1, and inductive hypothesis, you have to substitute n equal to k, and inductive step, you have to substitute n equal to k plus 1 and add k plus 1 in left hand side and right hand side. You have to finally prove hypothesis true, then conclusion is also true. I am taking one problem 1, example problem for your reference. First question is, use mathematical induction to prove that 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus up to n equal to n plus 1 by 2 for all positive integers n. Again I am reading the first problem. Use mathematical induction to prove that 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus up to n and n plus 1 by 2 for all positive integers n. Solution of the problem is, first you have to substitute n equal to 0 or 1. Now I am going to substitute n equal to 1. Before that, write the given statement. Let the statement be P of n. I am going to assume the given question as P of n. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus up to n into n plus 1 by 2. And step 1, I am going to substitute n equal to 1. Left hand side 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus up to 1 equal to 1. And right hand side, that is n into n plus 1 by 2. In the value of n can be substituted as 1. That is 1 into 1 plus 1. That is, answer is true. Both LHS and RHS are same. Therefore, the both statements are equal. P of 1 is true. In step 2, I am going to substitute n equal to k. N equal to k. You have to substitute n equal to k, and answer is k plus 1 by 2. You have to assume that both LHS and RHS is also true. In step 3, you have to substitute and you have to take the condition based on the above statement, that is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus k up to equal to k into k plus 1 by 2, adding k plus 1 on both sides. Here adding k plus 1, add here and add here k plus 1, add k plus 1. So k plus 1 equal to k plus 1 into k into k plus 1 by 2 and k plus 1. Okay, you can take k plus 1 common, k plus 1 into remaining answer is k by 2 plus 1. You have to take k plus 1 as common. So I represented k plus 1 here, and the remaining statement is k by 2 plus 1. Okay, k by 2 plus 1, and then you have to cross multiply this term. You will get k plus 2 by 2. At last the given input is n equal to k plus 1. Here you can substitute as n. Here you can substitute as n plus 1 because n equal to k plus 1 by 2. So both LHS and RHS is true. According to the statement, P of k equal to P of k plus 1. Therefore, if H is true, then C is also true. If hypothesis is true, then conclusion is also true. It is based on the given statement. I think you will get some clear idea. In inductive step, you have to prove the three statements. First, you have to substitute n equal to 0 or 1, and second, you have to substitute n equal to k, and third, you have to take the question based on the induction hypothesis and add k plus 1 on both sides. Finally, you have to prove the given statement is true. So this is the main concept of inductive proof. It is one of the important question which will be asked in a 6 mark or 8 mark, like that. And now I am going to explain the additional forms of proof. That is proof by set, proof by contradiction, and proof by counter example. Sets represents, it may be union, concatenation, difference, or complement, etc. If A union B is true, then B union A is also true. A intersection B is true and B intersection A is true. You have to prove the statements based on the sets, union, concatenation, complement, etc. But contradiction means if A is true, then B is not true. That is the statement of contradiction, that is opposite. If A is true, then B is false, like that, opposite statement. If A is false, then B is true. So you have to prove the contradiction. If one statement is true, then another statement is not true. And another one term in proving the contradiction is prove by contrapositive. Contrapositive means if A is not true, then B is also not true. If A is false, then B is also false. If A is not false, then B is also not false. You have to prove based on the contrapositive statement. The difference between contradiction and contrapositive is, in contradiction, if one statement is true, then another statement is not true, that is contradiction. But in contrapositive, if one statement is not true, you have to prove another statement is also not true. That is contradiction and contrapositive. And third statement is proved by counter example. The counter example means it has several set of statements. You have to use additional some techniques or methods to solve the problem, and you have to get the output remains true. The output should be true. But you can take all the possible statements to prove the given problem, and finally the output should be true. That is proved by counter example. So this example we will discuss later. First I will explain again additional forms of proof, proof by contradiction and proof by counter example. Sets represents union, concatenation, contradiction, etc. And contradiction means if H is true, then C is also not true. And contrapositive means H is not true, then C is also not true. And counter example represents, it has some additional statements to prove the statement remains true. You can take n number of steps, or you can take all the possible solutions to prove the given statement remains true. That comes under the category of counter example. So these are the basic things in additional forms of proof. So in this class we discussed the concepts of automata and finite automata and basic terminologies of automata, introduction to formal proof. There are two types, deductive proof and inductive proof, and basic inductive proof example problem, and then additional forms of proof. In next class we will see the finite automata theory, and some examples present in DFA and NFA problem. Thank you all.